Hey everybody, Randy Walker here. I'm in Vero Beach, Florida, and I want to talk a little bit about college bowls here. We got a few bowls here in Florida. We got the Orange Bowl down in Miami. We got the Boca Raton Bowl, and then up north we got the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, the Gator Bowl up in Jacksonville, and you also have two bowls in Tampa, the former Outback Bowl, which has a new title sponsor this year, the Gasparilla Bowl, and actually I forgot there's also another bowl in Orlando. There's actually two other bowls in Orlando, the Cure Bowl, and I think it's the Cheez-It Bowl. I can't remember all the corporate sponsors. So I'm gonna walk and talk here and give you a little tour of this area of South Vero Beach. But I want to talk about bowl opt-outs. So bowl opt-outs is something that's something that gets in my craw because I really hate to see players opt out of bowls. But here's a little solution that I think that could maybe make this all a little bit more palatable. So certainly you have players that are, wanting to get into the NFL draft and don't want to risk injury in, a quote unquote meaningless game, although I would not call a bowl game meaningless, even if it's not in the college football playoff or one of the big bowls or whatever. But yeah, I think it's I don't think players should opt out of bowls. You commit to the team, to the season, to the university, and you should fulfill that commitment till the last game, and I think from an alumni point of view, I think alumni of all these schools playing in bowls, they're, proud peacocks saying, hey, my team made it to a bowl, whether you're, Miami of Ohio or Eastern Michigan, or if you're, USC or Ohio State or any other big team, Penn State, etc., the teams that are not in the college football playoff. You really owe it to the alumni and the university to fulfill your commitment. Now, I also think it's kind of a negative thinking that you're going to get injured in this game as opposed to the other 12 games that you played earlier in the season. So, what is the thought process that you're specifically going to get injured in a bowl game, and that you're not going to get, that you didn't get injured, during the regular season. Some of these players also play in the Senior Bowl and the, East-West Shrine Game, or those, college all-star games, which are a little less impactful. But anyway, I think that's kind of negative thinking, and I think it's just selfish. And personally, when a player says that they're going to withdraw, not play in a bowl game, I personally think less of those players, and I think it's a bad reflection of their character. Does that mean that when they're playing in the NFL, they're going to, not want to risk injury in a regular season game when they're out of the playoffs, or they want to be when they're not out of the playoffs because they don't want to get hurt because they're up for another contract in the next in the next couple months or after the season. So, I just think that's a bad reflection of character. But I think it should be up to also the bowls to, since they are, for the most part, exhibition games, more or less, I think it should be up for the bowls and the bowl sponsors to, step up with some NIL money for some of these star players that are attractions. If you're a top attractive, college football star, and you're playing in the Gator Bowl or the, Liberty Bowl or whatever, and you're relying on this star player to sell tickets, I think the title sponsor should, kick in some money there to make sure that the player plays in the bowl game. But, one of the things also that I thought about is, why make an announcement that you're not playing in a bowl game? The other thing that a college football coach could do is work with the player who's concerned about, getting injured and wanting to, protect their health before the draft is why doesn't the coach work with the player and say, hey, listen, we want you part of the team. We want you to practice. And, when the game starts, we just won't play you as much, whether it's a quarterback or a defensive lineman or whatever. You kind of use the bowl as, working with the players for the next season. So if you have a star quarterback, alternate him, with the starter for the next year, or if it's a defensive lineman, only play them in the first quarter, or, every other series or something, or, just don't play them as much. So that's one other, way to do it. So then you're just like, hey, listen, what, he's a little, you could use an excuse. He was a little banged up. We couldn't play him as much, or, oh, we're not going to start him. We're going to start, the player who's going to play for us next year, and maybe even give this player an opportunity to have a curtain call, where you just say, hey, listen, star quarterback, we're going to play him for the first quarter, then we're going to pull him. And, and then you just have a big curtain call when he walks off the field, or, do the opposite and start the player who's going to play next year and then do a curtain call with him at the end of the game. So, anyway, that's, one kind of solution just to kind of save face and, just so it doesn't seem so, selfish. But I will say one thing about bowls is everybody watches them. I mean, like every single bowl, whether it's the Frisco Bowl or the Camellia Bowl or whatever, it is a national audience every time one of those bowl games is on. And everybody's watching, future NFL fans, sponsors, scouts, etc. So what a great showcase for you to showcase what you can do to future fans and player scouts and coaches and future NFL teammates. I mean, that's just an amazing opportunity to showcase what you can do. I can remember, I watch a lot of bowls. I can remember, years ago watching Ben Roethlisberger, from the University of Miami of Ohio, and him playing in a bowl game and just watching him and being like, whoa, this guy's going to be great in the NFL. And, sure enough, he got, drafted by the Steelers, led into the Super Bowls and became a, superstar in the NFL. But that was where I was really first introduced to Ben Roethlisberger, so I think that's a good example of, the showcase that a bowl can be. I mean, if you're playing for, regardless of what conference you're in, there's during the regular season, there's always another game to watch. If you're in the Big Ten or the SEC or the Pac-10, Pac-12, when your game is on, there's usually 3 or 4 other games going on at the same time. But the bowls, there's basically only one bowl game at the on at the same time, with the few exceptions. So anyway, those are just some of my thoughts on opting out of bowls, and I wish more players would not do it, because the chances are of you getting injured are not high, at least where you're going to threaten your career, etc. And even if you are concerned about that, work with the coach and have them work out a plan where you can maybe play a little bit and not risk injury and so forth. But anyway, that is some words on college bowls. Wearing my Georgia hat. Been to so many bowl games with the Dogs, some of them that have been super important, like the national championship game in the Rose Bowl, and some that were lame duck bowls, Gator Bowls and a couple Sugar Bowls where a few players opted out, so forth. So anyway, Randy Walker from Vero Beach, and that's me talking about college bowl opt-outs. Don't do it.